Hi everyone, this is my first update since I had my surgery. You can see I have this nice brace they gave to me. I had my surgery 4 days ago on Wednesday, today is Saturday. And well, let me first tell you what I experienced so far. So first off, they gave me like a nice scar. You can see in the picture over here. Some of my friends call it a battle scar, which is like a trophy, let's say, but yeah, so that happened. The good news is, first of all, my surgeon told me the surgery went completely perfect. In one sense, the pec was ripped off more than he expected, but it shouldn't delay the recovery. It's the same thing, it just took him more work. But they completely reconnected my pec. The pectoral muscle looks completely the same as before, so the shape is the same, just a bit swollen from the surgery still. But otherwise, the good news is we're completely fine. And he gave me a time window of like 4 months until complete recovery. On the net, I learned some worst cases that were up to 6 months. So I plan to do it in 3, as a matter of speech, but we'll see. I'm gonna keep it, I'm gonna be smart about my recovery, of course. I'm only gonna make this promise to you, but mostly for myself. The last video of this playlist, The Road to Recovery, will be me winning a major tournament. Major might be, well, I'm saying like, for example, Grappling Industries, maybe an IBJJF tournament. So that's what I'm focused on right now, getting back in shape as soon as possible, and then go compete and win a tournament again. So that's my goal and my promise to myself. Now, so far, post-surgery, they gave, of course, after surgery, they give you I call it the painkiller a little bit, paracetamol, and the first night was great. When I came back home, I decided not to take the painkiller, and it was the first 2 days were really a pain. I took a few paracetamol to numb the pain a bit. Now, since yesterday, I took my last painkiller. Today, I'm completely painkiller free, let's say. Now, in the beginning, I recommend you always to take ibuprofen to stop the inflammation. I decided not to do that because I think inflammation is a natural part of the healing process, so I avoid to do that. I try to limit the inflammation, so I want to have the natural inflammation, but I want to limit the inflammation by doing my food. Now, at the end of this video, I will link to a next video where I talk about my food routine, so how I eat. What I want to talk about today actually is my experience first, how I experienced the surgery, and also what I'm doing right now to stay in shape. So what I'm doing now, the most important thing is right now I have to immobilize my arm for 4 weeks. After 4 weeks, I can start doing some exercise again. And I can basically use my arm for everything. I can bend, not carry weight of course, but I can bend my arm, do bottom arm rotations, basically use my hand for whatever I please. The worst thing I can do is I cannot open my elbow. I'm also allowed to let my arm dangle, so when I shower, it's also allowed. So the problem with immobilization is that your muscle atrophies. You lose muscle mass straight away. So it's very important how you keep your arm as active as possible without causing more injury, and also the way you eat. So how I eat, I will also make another video about that. You can see in the same playlist in a few days. Now, what do I do so far? They gave me this ball in the hospital. So this ball, I'm always carrying it around with me on the day, all the time. And so I'm squeezing this ball all the time just to keep the muscles active. I don't go too hard, but I try to keep it all the time. Now, what they forgot to tell me in the hospital, and I know from experience it causes wrist pain if you don't, is you also have to train your antagonists. So Jitsu, we always overdo the gripping part, we never do the extending part of our fingers, and this causes me a lot of pain. Well, arthritis they say, but since I started doing this, the pain is actually better in my fingers. So look, what I usually now, that you can order it on bull.com, or maybe if in another country, I don't know, like you can call it like grip strength trainers, and you put your fingers inside. They come in 3 different strengths. So you put your fingers inside those. Takes a while, of course, always. See, you put your fingers in those. It's a bit harder now. And what I do, see, once your fingers are in, the thumb is always a bit harder. So once your fingers are in, you can also train your extensors. And they come in 3 different strengths. So what it does now, if you train both sides, it should limit the pain. So a lot of things we have in our body, like a lot of injuries come, chronic injuries come because of imbalance. So for example, a hernia comes from having too strong muscle flexors and not good muscle extensors. So an imbalance between the front and the back side, and it causes a hernia. So the same mechanic would apply to your fingers if you only train the bending and not the extending. That's already one cause for all of injuries. What I also try to do is try to keep my wrist as flexible as possible, and all the time I'm moving my wrist around. Now they gave me this carrier. Now these carriers are always mostly there to protect people from their own stupid mistakes. So in theory, I believe I could just put it out, which I will do right now, yeah, and just let it dangle next to you, provided your shoulders don't get too tired. And in fact, I believe this is better for you. So when I'm home or by myself, I try to take the brace out as much as possible, and then I can start bending my arm, see, to keep the biceps active. And when it stays active, you have less muscle atrophy and you lose less muscle mass. So I do this exercise, I also rotate my arm. So that's the main things I do for my shoulder recovery. So now in the next videos, I will talk one video about my food routine, my day-to-day routine, and the next video will be about my workout routine. So it's very important, I believe, like I said in my first video, to establish a good routine straight away. Because my routine was always train in the morning, like Jitsu, then straight after do some yoga, then do some weightlifting, then take my cold shower or my dip in the cold barrel, like Wim Hof, do my breathing, then I go on with my day a little bit, and in the evening I do my training again, teach my class and do my training again. So from now, like, because it's my muscle training, like my weightlifting, mostly fell out of my routine. My training, my grappling in the evening took out of my routine. So now I have to replace it with another healthy routine. So what I did so far, I show up on the class every single day, and I'm still teaching my classes, pain or no pain. Now I do believe once my quality of my class will deteriorate because of my injury, I would take a step back and let someone else teach. So I always ask my people in the gym if they're happy with the class and if I get good feedback. As long as they're happy with my class and they're learning, then I will continue on my path like as I do. It doesn't bother me too much in training, even in demonstrating, because Jiu-Jitsu is mostly about core motions, like inside shoulder escape, outside shoulder escape, hinges, extensions. So it's only the grips that differ for now, and I can only play one side. So my classes still work. So okay, stay tuned in this playing list, and thank you for staying with me so far. Thank you for the support and the positivity you send in my direction. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned for further updates in my recovery process.